The Descendants franchise has given us a special look into Disney's fairy tale world and offered us an update on everyone's happily ever afters. Some of our favorite heroes built an entire kingdom and had perfect and charming children. Here's looking at you, Belle and Beast. Besides creating Auradon, Ben is definitely your greatest accomplishment. I mean, look at those dreamy eyes. And of course, Ben's taste in women is impeccable. We love you, Mal. Each Descendants movie gives us a new batch of villains and heroes' offspring to get highly invested in, and Descendants 3 was no exception. But with each new villain kid, or VK as they like to be called, comes the reminder that these kids' parents have a seriously dark past. Let's take a deep dive into some of the most notable parents we saw in Descendants 3 and get a refresher on some of their more questionable actions. Mr. Smee. Descendants 3 gave us a glimpse into what Mr. Smee's been up to. From what we can tell, his life on the island has consisted of raising two adorable twins, Squeaky and Squirmy. The last we saw of Smee at the end of Peter Pan, he was running after his boss, Captain Hook. Hook was being chased by Tick-Tock, the crocodile that bit off his hand. Smee is one of the most lovable villains in the Disney universe, with his goofy antics and his constant need to please Captain Hook. Smee never had the pirate spirit, meaning he didn't seem like he cared much for pillaging and plundering like the rest of Hook's crew. Even though we'd like to chalk up a lot of Smee's checkered past to lousy role models like Hook, he is still not wholly exempt from all the bad things he did. Beneath the silly striped shirt and bright red hat, there was still a villain who was willing to kidnap Tinkerbell and Tiger Lily from Captain Hook. Yikes! And don't forget that he played a significant role in capturing all of the Lost Boys, plus Wendy, Michael, and John. He and his crew almost made Wendy walk the plank if it weren't for Peter Pan. Not good, Mr. Smee, not good. We can only hope that he stayed away from the pirate's life and possibly made some better friends besides Captain Hook. Lady Tremaine, Drizella. Even though we were introduced to Dizzy, Drizella's daughter, in Descendants 2, we finally got to see Lady Tremaine, Dizzy's grandmother, in Descendants 3. Her heart seems to have grown a little since she was trying to stop Cinderella from marrying Prince Charming. She at least brings Dizzy's glue gun for her when she almost forgets it on her way to Auradon. Dizzy tells Mal and Evie on Descendants 2 that Lady Tremaine hasn't changed, and she gives Dizzy the Cinderella treatment by making her sweep and clean their salon. But that's not all Lady Tremaine inflicted on Cinderella years before Dizzy was born. Lady Tremaine didn't need magical spells or potions to pull off her plans to make Cinderella's life miserable. All she needed was a scary stare and an affinity for having breakfast in bed. Cinderella's former evil stepmother's main form of torture was forcing her to work, but she was also a master manipulator. Lest we not forget, she promised Cinderella she could go to the ball like everyone else, then gave her a pile of chores and no dress to ensure she wouldn't be able to go. When Cinderella was able to finish her chores and wear a new dress courtesy of her magical mice friends, Lady Tremaine provoked Drizella and her sister Anastasia to rip apart Cinderella's dress. We have to wonder if this particular memory was ever recounted to Dizzy at any point, because wow! But Lady Tremaine's cruelty didn't stop there. She was so determined for Cinderella not to become a princess that she went so far as to lock Cinderella in the tower of her mansion while Prince Charming's henchmen were visiting the house. You gotta give the mice credit again. If it weren't for them, maybe Cinderella would still be trapped in Lady Tremaine's tower. And Cindy and Prince Charming would have never had our favorite lovable ditz, Chad Charming. Dr. Vasilia. Vasilia, now that's a villain you don't see every day. We're glad that his daughter Cecilia turned out to be a well-rounded person with an excellent fashion sense. If she would have taken on any more of her dad's qualities, besides his love of making a quick buck and card playing, we probably would have worried. When we catch up with Dr. Vasilia in the Isle of the Lost, he's traded Dr. Vasilia's Voodoo Emporium for Dr. Vasilia's Voodoo Arcade. Because the Isle of Lost cannot have magic, we suspect the arcade leans more on the games and tricks side of Vasilia than the black magic side. The arcade seems to be an ode to his past as the voodoo witch doctor who desperately wanted to rule New Orleans. His desperation was so intense, he was willing to make friends with the other side and sell his soul. When Tiana and Naveen and their band of swamp friends intervened with his plans, Vasilia got pretty angry and very murdery. He did the most despicable thing of all by killing Ray the Firefly. We still don't forgive you for that one, Vasilia. We can only hope that since he's become a dad to Cecilia, he sticks to some of his crimes that aren't so evil. Hades. It happened. It finally happened. As fans have theorized for a long time, Hades is Mal's dad. Hades, Lord of the Dead, is Mal's dad. So this makes Mal half a Greek god? Well, that's cool with us. When someone like Hades is your dad, as the song they sing totally suggests, you're inevitably going to have some daddy issues. With a backstory like Hades, we have to wonder what kind of conversations Mal and Hades are having over dinner. Did she ask him about all the souls he stole? Or how he tried to kill Hercules so he could take over Mount Olympus? Wonder what Mal thought about Hades using Meg to create a weakness in Hercules so he could defeat him and ultimately defeat his father Zeus. Perhaps one of the darkest parts of Hades' past is his willingness to leave his newborn baby daughter because he couldn't stand Maleficent. It's not that we necessarily blame him. I mean, do we really want to know about the final fight that happened between Hades and Maleficent that made him want to leave? I bet it was a doozy. Nevertheless, leaving a daughter in the world of villains is pretty icky, Hades. It's a good thing Mal knows a little bit about redemption and ultimately forgave him. But we still have to guess that the first interaction between Hercules and Hades wasn't a comfortable one now that the villains are free to roam in Eridan. Have fun meditating that one, Mal. Do you have a favorite backstory from Descendants? Let us know in the comments below.